The fact the Innodem kind of turns into a longsword in its Incarnon form and doesn't cost a great deal to build by 5 pinions? Yeah, before they change this, let's just actually pick this up and actually build this thing. 5 pinions is pretty much nothing. 5 angels, you can buy these from Yonta now, which makes them easier to get, but 24 hours? Oh, worth the wait. And there's no point comparing this to daggers because you will notice the big thing about daggers. The best ones, there's 2 of. Luckily it comes with 2v polarities, but it's kind of a evenly matched status and status and crit chance kind of situation going on here yet again. Obviously the first Incarnon for this is basically just it allows you to activate the Incarnon form. After that, well, you have to activate it 6 times in a mission. Sprint speed, attack speed, or range. Attack speed every time. 3 heavy attacks on a Thrax to get the next one. I mean, as nice as they are, finishers, yeah, depends what you're using it for. The range of aerial attacks, that should have just been slams. So obviously it's going to be that because of what it is. But yeah, then we'll get on to this. As with the previous melee weapons, yeah, weapon has been singular, and technically you would get this in the order of melee weapons before the other one. I'm going to go for the 3 times combo to reach the Incarnon form instead of 5, because it allows you to use it in its Incarnon form that's actually pretty decent over the dagger more often. Just like with the shotgun, I've ignored this till we got to the end because collecting ammo grants 5 melee combo counter, no thank you. On finisher, stun enemies within a 10 meter radius. Yeah. Plus 40% heavy attack efficiency for 40 seconds. That's kind of junk. I mean, stun aware enemies in a 10 meter radius when you do a finisher. Could be useful. Again, it just depends on what you are doing, and you can come back and change any of these at any time. This thing starts life as a dagger, and then once you incarnate it, it turns into a longsword. But it turns into a longsword that basically still uses the dagger stance, which is straight up kind of weird. I was really hoping they would maybe, especially with the way that shotgun primary works, just have these set up so you have the... If you start life as one weapon and it transforms into something else, where is the option to mod it for that something else? It's just the Incarnon weapons turn into bigger, better weapons, but not always the same style of weapon. And when you look at single-handed daggers, because that's what this dominates pretty much all of them when it comes to damage. The total damage is 273, 300 and okay. The special ones, the sheave, rumblejack, none of them come near this thing when it comes to the actual damage that this does. Some of the dual wielding ones you would think, well, they must come close, but no, the closest thing out there is the Neferi, and it's still just behind, but they do have higher attack speeds, crit chance status, things like this. So when it comes to daggers, the Innodem is finally what I expected the Praedos to be. It is a new weapon of a certain weapon type, makes no difference what weapon types they are, and it is the best at what it does. It is a new dagger melee weapon that incarnates into something bigger and better, so it goes from the best dagger to a longsword. Whether it's the best at being a longsword, I really couldn't decide on this one. Yeah, it's a pretty decent weapon, and I really couldn't decide which one was better, the Innodem or the Praedos. But it has to be said, the Cronin Prime exists, that stat-wise is better than the Praetos, and that kind of ruined the Praetos to me. The Praetos does do more damage, but the Cronin Prime is there. It exists. It, number-wise, should be the better of the two weapons. It's kind of too close to tell which one is actually best, so I'm just not going to make my mind up which is, but stat-wise, yeah, the Cronin kind of won. But the Innodem, yeah, it would be nice if there was a way to mod this for its void form, its Incarnon form, that would allow you to then change the stance to a sword stance. Just like with the primary shotgun, the Felox. I know, people got a bit mad at me because I kept adding that R in for the Phalanx. Yeah, that's not even the correct, even spelling of it. No. The Felox, the primary shotgun, would be nice if there was a way to mod that for when it goes into pistol form using pistol mods, because I 100% think that weapon would be 1,000 times better if you could. This is the same deal. This is a really good dagger that turns into a pretty good longsword, but if we could change the stance over and it literally started using the other stance, or the other mods, this thing would still be a pretty decent weapon. But we are talking about a part of the game where every single one of the Incarnon weapons should be the biggest and best version of whatever category of weapons they are in. If they release a bow, it should be the best bow in the game. They release anything, best anything in the game. Simple as long as they, well, the first one that they do of these. If there is one of every type of Incarnon weapon, which in theory they could actually do, they should be the best of everything in the game. There should be pretty much nothing better at this particular point. Because everything from here onwards, you have to have played everything in the game, and you don't have to have everything, but you still got to have pretty much done everything to get a hold of a lot of these things to begin with. Because you've got to do every quest to get to them. So they should have been a little bit better than they are. But don't get me wrong, the Innodem, yeah, there's a lot of comparing it to other weapons that can be done, and it's worth doing for the daggers, because even down to some of the dual wielding ones, this thing's better. The Praetos, that was good, it was fun, I liked it. This, it doesn't seem like the kind of weapon that should do the damage that it does, but it does, and it may be a long time before you can get a hold of this thing if you are just starting out in the game, but it's worth it once it gets there, because the daggers, kind of a long forgotten weapon type in Warframe, and I would really like to see them bring this back. They did it with the Neferi, with the whole new war. They tried to do it with the Rumblejack, but to be fair, the Rumblejack, it's not that bad. It is just extremely low. Well, very low attack speed. I don't think there's anything quite slower than a 0.667. And it seems to be completely impact based, with it mostly electrical on top. And then we get to the fact that it has about the same crit chances throwing a sponge at an enemy, with a multiplier that is not much better, because that is a status based weapon. Whereas the Neferi, yeah, that has the attack speed, the damage, the crit chance is about the same as this, but it has status, and it just, that was a much better weapon. And this, well, the only way I can put it is, that's a good weapon, an amazing weapon, probably the best dual wielding dagger there is. The Innodem is way better. And with that, we've gone on way too long, so we'll leave this off here. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you.